What's up guys, and welcome to another review. Today we actually have a familiar face. This is my buddy Sarang here, a fellow NSX owner. And you guys might remember we did a review of his Mercedes C55 AMG a while back. And he actually sold that car about 6-7 months ago and bought this 2011 Mini Cooper S. So tell me about this car. Why did you pick the Mini?
Yeah, sure. So to make a long story short, if you remember the previous video, my car was out for 2 weeks getting some power steering hoses replaced. In the meantime, I actually got a rental car, and it was a Chevy Sonic RS. And that's like a 1.4 liter turbo, and I had a blast for it for like a couple weeks that I had it. So then I started looking at like the smaller turbo cars, the subcompacts. So there's the Mini Cooper, there's that, and there's the Fiesta ST.
Right.
I don't know, I just found the Mini Cooper the most fun. I felt like boost kicks in hard, holds all the way to a red line. And then my thing is I always like to buy cars stock, so I found this 2011 Cooper, and it has a lot, Cooper S, and it has a lot of options that most of them don't. One of the biggest things is like the keyless start, like nobody got that option. And the second biggest thing that I really want, actually this is the primary thing, was the xenon lights, which a lot of the S's don't have.
Okay. And you said a lot of the Minis, like you have to, like everything's an option, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it actually does matter quite a lot.
Exactly.
So basic specs on this car, 1.6 liter, right? Turbocharged inline 4, makes like what, 181 horsepower?
Yep.
And torque is around 177 foot-pounds, I think.
That's correct.
And it starts at a super low RPM, right? Like 1600, something like that.
Yeah, 1500-ish.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, the car weighs like what, 2600 some pounds?
Yeah,
so it's
just
really
a hair
light.
under 27.
So very similar to the new Fiesta ST. The steering response is really quick on this thing.
Yeah, we did put it in sport mode before we started.
Does that affect the steering response?
Yeah, so that changes the throttle response, the steering response, and the fuel mapping. But the fuel mapping, I'm not sure you get much. I think it's more for the pops that you'll hear from the exhaust.
Okay. Because that's right, because you have a JCW exhaust on it, right?
Yeah, even the stock exhaust pops. It's just a lot quieter.
All seasons. Are they all seasons?
All seasons, 195s.
They're squealing away. This thing's nimble, man. This is actually a lot of fun for front wheel drive.
Right.
It just does not want to rev when I whip it.
No. And there's a little bit of a lag because it's drive-by-wire.
Oh, it's drive-by-wire. Okay. So electric power steering and electric throttle.
Yeah.
This thing actually is really, it likes to move around the back end.
Yeah.
It's not like just constant understeer. So when this car first came out, I mean, what were the main competitors? I mean, I guess the GTI.
Yeah, the GTI. Well, so there's two revisions of this. There's like the 07 to 2010 version, which has the N14 motor, and then the 2011 to 2013, which is the N18.
Okay.
So kind of like a mid-cycle refresh.
Was the Abarth out by then?
No, the Abarth came out
2012 or something.
Yeah, something like that. So that's the main competitor as far as like for this post facelift generation. The Abarth, and then the Fiesta ST.
Because I've driven a lot of hot hatches, especially front wheel drive ones, and this car moves around a lot more than something like a GTI.
Yeah.
Or even a Focus ST. I think the Fiesta ST is closer in character to this car because the tail end of the Fiesta actually does like to step out a little bit on you. That's the problem with being a car guy in America, is if you like hot hatches, you just don't get as many options. Like the Renaults, and like we just now finally got the Civic Type R.
Yeah, the only thing with Minis is like once you get past 40,000, 50,000 miles,
start breaking down.
Well, you know, typical BMW problems.
Yeah. Whatever it has for a diff, I'm sure someone on the internet will know. Yeah, it works pretty damn well. Like I can just floor it on the exit and it just comes right around.
Yeah. Well, it has some sort of electronic diff lockout control,
okay.
Which is supposed to act like a fake LSD.
Okay. Okay, so that's an E-diff.
Yeah, E-diff.
Seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, that one you might want to fact check. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure someone on the internet will know exactly. The suspension's like really comfortable too. I mean, it is a little soft even for canyon use. I'm sure even like way too soft for track use, but for daily driving, I can see this being pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. One thing is they did have a sport suspension option, which doesn't come in the sport package. It's a completely different a la carte option. Yeah, it's $500 from the factory.
That sounds like something Porsche would do.
Even on the John Cooper Works, it's the same thing. So you can get a John Cooper Works, and you may not get like the actual sports springs.
Really?
Yeah. So
I guess it's nice for them to give you the option to mix and match, but why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, it's something on these older generations. On the newer ones, like the packages make more sense.
Did we just kill a bird?
No, I think that was above.
Oh, okay.
It was like a shadow. Let's just pretend it was a shadow.
Yeah, let's just pretend it was a shadow. Normally, I don't like super stiff suspensions, but this one's a little bit on the softer side, even for me.
And that's saying a lot considering it still has run flats.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can't even imagine what it'd be like with like regular tires.
So in that respect, this car's a lot more comfortable than a Fiesta ST. I think in terms of driving dynamics, there's a lot of similarities between the two. The nimbleness, the quick steering, you know, the fact that you can actually play with the tail end a little bit. But when it comes to like daily driving, I don't think the Fiesta ST would even hold a candle to this. I think the sound isolation in this car is better. You have this big screen. Is this standard?
No, the screen is an option.
Oh, it's an option.
Another option a lot of people don't have, especially in manual cars for some reason. What you do get there instead is you'll get like a small little LCD at the bottom for the radio, and then a huge like needle for the speedometer.
Oh, okay. I like this a lot, actually.
Yeah, this is done really well.
I guess when it comes to the driver controls, the steering, like I said, it's really quick, really responsive. Kind of numb, to be honest. There's not a whole lot of feedback. Shifter is really easy to use, but similar to some other hot hatches out there, like the GTIs and Focus STs, it's a little bit rubbery, a little bit vague, but there's no question like what gear you're in. It just doesn't feel all that mechanical, which is, I mean, par for the course for hot hatches. Throttle response is something that I really have a problem with. When heel towing, I feel like I just need to have a lead foot on that throttle and just like really like almost just foot to the floor in order to get it to rev up. The other thing is the seating position. You set the seat pretty low already, so it's like pretty decent, but even then, the car doesn't feel all that small. It feels bigger than a Fiesta ST, or maybe similar, but it doesn't feel like a really small car.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
But it drives like a small car, which makes it really fun.
The N18s, which this car has, is far more reliable than the N14s, which the previous ones had.
Okay.
But one thing that a lot of like mini owners who aren't enthusiasts never check the oil, and these things burn oil like crazy.
Ooh, okay.
So a lot of the secondhand ones that you'll find are actually really low on oil. So like, you know, to your viewers out there, if you guys are looking, definitely make sure that, you know, oil changes were done on time, and that, you know, you ask about like, did they check oil regularly? And you know, I looked at a car before this one, and I saw in the service records the guy went into the dealership 3 quarts low on oil, and I walked away.
3 quarts?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Not bad, not bad. It's got some shove to it for sure.
I find there's a little bit of a lag when you start off in first gear.
Yeah, it's like I said. There's the throttle response is not the greatest in this car, but you know, once you're up there in the boost, like 3,000 to 6,000, makes pretty good power.
Yeah, it's perfect for the highway because you don't have to downshift to pass.
Right. And it is a 6-speed, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's a 6-speed. Great gas mileage. I don't know if I already said that.
Alrighty. So thanks again, Sarang, for letting me drive your Mini Cooper S. Yeah, really surprisingly fun, nimble car. I mean, I know they get reviewed really well, but I never really thought too much of these. Like, I didn't really give it a second thought. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the way the Minis look compared to like some of the other hot hatches. But driving dynamics wise, this might be my new favorite front wheel drive hot hatch, like hands down. So if you guys have any other cool hot hatches out there, I'd love to check them out. I really want to try like one of the older Minis now, not like the 60s one, which I have driven actually, but like the supercharged model.
Yeah.
That would be pretty fun.
R53s,
Yeah. So let me know what you guys think of the Mini Cooper in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.